So the first one is just any clarification questions, anything about aspects I might have missed. And the second and third one, I'm asking these questions, especially because of the current debates that is happening in the future studies world about who can be who is a futurist, who should be recognized as a futurist or a practitioner. So it's hard for me to sort of reconcile what I read about decolonizing future studies, you know, and like this whole non-disciplinary, open-minded, experimental approach with you know, foresight practitioner recognition, which might create like a priesthood, as Sardar called it. And since we're in an academic institution, I thought it'd be also interesting to bring up this question about how to proceed as an academic discipline while retaining this non-disciplinary characteristic.
Well, thank you. I mean, like non-disciplinary for maximum dissent. Yes, way to go. You know, I have two questions. The first one was if you could explain a little bit about anti-vest would lead to pro-vest, you were saying. So that's one. Maybe I heard wrong. And the second one is to answer to your number 3 questions. I think a lot of people struggle with that, academic discipline, future studies as an academic discipline, because people can't see where it's located. As you can see, a lot of us within just the small group of us, we come from very different background. You know, I come from business school. I know myself come from business school as well with the accounting background, you know. So like, yeah, I don't have an answer for that. But I think we also, within each of the journals, you will see there are certain ways of seeing things, you know, what journal really wants. And so if you write about something, you have to really locate where your work might be most appreciated or most sympathized. I felt it that way. As an, you know, before me becoming an editor for JFS, I felt like I have to find my way within the journals itself, where my ideas would sit well with the editor or the person who is in, you know, very influential in that journal. I think you have a point here. Number 3 is so strong. Yeah, I hand over to you about the anti-West and pro-West.
Okay, and I think like futures literacy is kind of interesting because from what I remember, and I actually interviewed Riel for this article as well, even though I couldn't fit it into the article, but he has this whole thing about like walking on 2 legs or something like that, and he talked about futures. He said he was glad that he was able to frame futures literacy as a competency rather than like anything too hard, let's say. So there's sort of a sense of vagueness about it, and it doesn't, let's say, close up any options by framing it in that way. So I think like there is a way that education can intersect with this non-disciplinary ethos. But for the pro-West, to be anti-West is to be pro-West thing that I talked about, or it's a quote from Sardar, but what he meant is that by taking the West as a frame of reference, by being anti-West, you're still taking the West as a frame of reference, and you're empowering the fact that, or empowering these knowledge systems by using it as a frame of reference.
Right.
So the way to completely bypass or overcome the West would be, I guess, to create like maybe a knowledge structure or knowledge system that doesn't refer to it at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are also problems with this because, for example, like Ashes Dandies and Sardar seem to be like, or they want to overcome the tradition of the Enlightenment in the West. But I'm reading like David Graeber and David Wengrow's A New History of Mankind, or whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but they talk about the Enlightenment as actually being formed as in response to indigenous critiques of the West. So it's, I mean, I feel like you can't really disassociate the West and the non-West so cleanly. But I don't know, it's just something that was on my mind because I'm reading that book right now.